5:15 a.m. Stockholm. Above the roof of the most secure G4S cash vault in the Västberga district, the silence is already shattering. A gray BL-206 helicopter touches its skids to the concrete roof of the vault. A muffled explosion and the reinforced glass of the massive dome under the helicopter turns to dust. Three shadows in black tactical gear rappel into this breach on climbing ropes. Once inside, the strike team in a matter of minutes reaches the central hole. Before them are mountains of cash, 39 million kronor. That is over $5 million. While two feverishly stuff the bags, above the roof a winch comes to life. Now begins the most daring part. Bags one by one soar into the sky, disappearing into the cabin of the helicopter. All of Stockholm hears this roar. The police are already on high alert and have cordoned off the building, but no one opens fire. SWAT stands below and simply watches as millions literally fly away into the clouds. How did Europe's police turn into a spectator of its own robbery? To find out, let's rewind the time to 2:30. Mitinga Base. This place is located 30 kilometers from the vault on Värmdö Island. Here, the entire aviation unit of the Stockholm police is based. Night. To the hangar gates, where the patrol cars and a Eurocopter stand, two people approach. They leave two gray sports bags right in front of the entrance. 3 o'clock. Västberga district. We move to the G4S cash depot itself. Within a radius of 1.5 kilometers from the building, through the empty streets, a black van circles. It drives along 5 key roads. From the van's windows onto the asphalt fly hundreds of steel caltrop spikes. These are welded pieces of rebar, sharpened like a razor. The van methodically seeds with them all the interchanges and intersections leading to the depot. The car makes a final circle and disappears. Mellingeholm Airfield. While the city is cordoned off by spikes, 70 kilometers north of Stockholm movement begins. This is a private airfield. A group breaks open the hangar of the Roslagens helicopter flight company and rolls out a White Bell 206 Jet Ranger helicopter. The engine starts instantly. At 4:35, the aircraft lifts off the ground and sets a course to the south. To deceive the radars, the pilot presses the machine to the treetops, flying at an extremely low altitude, the G4S roof. The White Bell 206 touches its skids to the concrete. While the blades are still cutting the air, the strike team is already on the roof. A dull thud, the ringing of broken reinforced glass, and into the depths of the building flies a folding aluminum ladder. The group disappears into the black breach of the dome. Security post, the building trembles from vibration. On the camera monitors, shadows and masks descending into the central hall. The guards do not play heroes. Following instructions, 20 people lock themselves in safe rooms, turning into passive spectators. All they can do is press the panic button. 5:21, Police Command Center. The silence of the duty station is shattered by the alarm, a signal of an armed attack. The dispatcher throws a command into the air. To all free units. Code 1, robbery in Västberga. Get the helicopters up. We need air support immediately. 5:25, vault perimeter. The first patrol cars already see the building. Sirens are wailing. SWAT is ready to storm. But suddenly, a series of sharp pops. The car skids. Rims grind against the asphalt, throwing sparks. The cops jump out of the cabs and see hundreds of sharpened steel spikes on the road. The ring around G4S has closed. The ground is officially taken out of the game. While the patrolmen watch helplessly at their shredded tires, we return inside the vault. 543, 6th floor of the depot. The robbers work in complete silence, not distracted by the wailing sirens outside. They know the police are stuck a kilometer away. A shaped charge is set at the doors of the currency vault. A flash, 3 powerful blasts, and the armored doors, which were supposed to withstand a siege for hours, simply fly into the hall. Before them are racks with cash, 39 million kronor. The robbers do not waste time on counting. They grab cassettes and stuffed duffel bags, hooking them to the winch hanging from the roof. The bags, one after another, fly up into the open hatch of the helicopter. The entire process runs like a conveyor belt. At the same time, 30 kilometers away, Mitinga Air Base. 5:49. The police pilots finally rush into their hangar. They are ready to take off, ready to push the choppers for an intercept. But at the very doors of the hangar, they freeze. In the dim light of the lamps, red LEDs are blinking. 2 sports bags, wrapped in duct tape, lie directly in the path of the aircraft. Hold it, we have an IED at the entrance. Call the bomb squad. This is checkmate. The police Eurocopter remains in the hangar. The sky over Sweden is cleared. 5:49. Västberga roof. The last bag is pulled into the cabin. 3 raiders take off. The helicopter lifts heavily from the roof and hovers at a height of several meters. preparing for a dash to the north. At that moment, 500 meters from the vault, on the ground, behind a concrete block, a police special forces sniper freezes. He arrived as part of the first wave, but his car, like all the others, got stuck because of the spikes. Now he is here, on position. Through the optical sight of his rifle, he sees everything above. The open door of the helicopter, the silhouettes of people in masks, and even the glare on the glass of the pilot's cabin. The distance is perfect. His finger is already on the trigger. Target in sight. The craft has risen above the roof, requesting permission to fire at the engine or the pilot. Sounds the calm but tense voice of the sniper over the air. In the police command center, there is dead silence. Seconds feel like hours. The roar of the helicopter blankets the entire district. The dispatcher's answer comes sharp and definitive. Fire is prohibited. I repeat, shooting is prohibited. The sniper grinds his teeth without removing his finger from the trigger. The reason is simple. Right behind the vault building, the dense residential blocks of Västberga begin. If a downed helicopter with tons of fuel crashes onto sleeping houses, there will be hundreds of casualties. The Raider pilot is a pro, and he realizes this perfectly. The helicopter suddenly banks to the side and breaks away from the roof. He is not just flying, he is literally hugging the residential buildings, using them as a human shield. The pilot flies the machine so low that the sound of the blades rattles the windows. The helicopter moves over the very rooftops, not giving the sniper even a single chance for a clean shot without risk to civilians. Below, the police helplessly lower their weapons. Police Eurocopters are still trapped at the Midinga base because of the decoy bags. In the sky, there is no one who could tail the White Bell 206. The helicopter turns into a small dot and finally dissolves in the morning mist over the northern forests, the Arninge Forest Massif, 25 kilometers north of Stockholm. Alexander Eriksson lands the Bell 206 on a tiny clearing among dense pines. Here, the gang no longer needs winches. At the edge of the woods, two cars await them, a black van and a high-speed SUV. The transfer of 39 million kronor takes exactly 120 seconds. The cars tear away and vanish into the network of forest roads leading to the E4 highway. When the first police patrol finally reaches the clearing, they find only the abandoned aircraft. Sweden's elite forensic team sifts through the abandoned Bell 206, literally millimeter by millimeter. At first glance, everything is sterile. The cabin smells of cheap antiseptic. The robbers clearly doused everything in chemicals to destroy DNA and fingerprints. But you know what the irony is? When you pull off a $5 million job in 15 minutes, the adrenaline spikes, even for the coldest pros. And in this rush, one microscopic mistake was made. Tucked away in the corner under the passenger seat, an expert finds an ordinary plastic water bottle. One of the raiders simply failed to put it in his bag. There is DNA on the bottleneck. 24 hours later, the lab delivers a result that makes the investigators' eyes light up. The profile matches Interpol records. It is Safa Kadam, a man long suspected of ties to Balkan military groups. This was the first domino. By establishing covert surveillance on all of Kadam's contacts, the police began to see the outlines of the entire network, from arms suppliers to logistics experts. But the real gut punch to the gang was delivered by technology. The robbers were certain that deleting the history in the helicopter's navigation system was the end. However, they underestimated the Swedish cyber forensics team. Data recovery specialists extracted shadow copies of files from the memory of the GPS device. And this is where the most interesting part was revealed. The navigator showed not only the escape route to the forest. It turned out that 1 week before the robbery, this helicopter took strange trips. It hovered 3 times over the depot building in Västberga and simulated a landing on the exact same clearing in the Arninge Forest where it was later found. These training flights led the investigation straight to our star pilot, Alexander Eriksson. The math added up. A man who by duty often flew over the city used his working hours to rehearse the perfect crime, an ironclad signature. Simultaneously, another group of detectives was digging into those very steel spikes, the caltrops that paralyzed the special forces. These were not standard products. Metal forensics showed that they were welded by hand to order. Police checked hundreds of small smithies and workshops across the country. In one of them, a blacksmith remembered a strange client. The guy ordered 300 steel stars, paid in cash, and was very polite. The description of the customer's appearance perfectly matched one of Kadum's closest associates, but the most frustrating detail for the Swedish police surfaced later. It turned out that they had been warned. 1 month before the raid, Serbian intelligence intercepted a conversation in Belgrade. Soon there will be a helicopter show in Sweden. The Serbs passed this to Stockholm, but the analysts just laughed it off back then. The scenario seemed too Hollywood. Now, when the show has taken place, this warning has become the key. The police already knew exactly in which circles to look for the organizers. the mousetrap began to snap shut. Swedish special forces began to act. Raids took place simultaneously in Stockholm, Gothenburg, and even in the Dominican Republic, where Safakadam tried to hide. 7 people ended up in the dock. Prosecutors laid everything out: DNA from a water bottle, GPS navigator data from the helicopter, call records. It seemed like checkmate, but the gang had prepared their final surprise. A dead silence fell over the court. Not one of the detainees admitted guilt in full. The pilot, Alexander Eriksson, insisted until the end that he was forced to fly under threat, and the others simply remained silent. They did not give up a single organizer. They did not name a single name of those who helped them on the ground. But most importantly, they flatly refused to say where the money was hidden. It was a silence worth 39 million kronor. The sentences sounded like a mockery. Safakadam and Alexander Eriksson each received 7 years. This was the maximum that the laws of Sweden allowed at that time. The other accomplices got off with terms from 1 to 5 years. A few years later, they all went free. And this is where the most absurd finale of this story arrives. The police were able to return to the bank less than 0.5% of what was stolen. Imagine, out of 39 million kronor, only pathetic scraps were found. 39 million kronor, about $5.3 million, disappeared without a trace. Not a single stash was found. Not a single account was blocked. It is believed that the money was laundered long ago through a network of casinos and shell companies in the Balkans. These people served their time and walked out of prison as millionaires. The most expensive 15-minute joyride in Scandinavian history was paid in full, but not by them, but by the state.